Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Glad to see you all here, and thanks for joining us today. Today's webinar in conjunction with the Utah Cyber Open Day. And for information, the Utah Cyber Open Day until 4th of July. And also June intake application is still ongoing, and the closing date is 2nd of July. If you wish to join us in July 2021 intake, you are still allowed to apply. All right, so today the webinar main platform is our Facebook page, Utah for You. Utah for You, you can like the page you can like our page and get the updated webinar list from here. And also we do have another platform, which is our Utah Cyber Open Day platform. You can watch live from there as well. And today is, this is the Utah Cyber Open Day platform. And also today we are honored to invite Dr. Alex Uy to conduct this webinar today. Dr. Alex Uy is from Faculty of Information and Communication Technology and the head of Department of the Computer Science. So without further delay, let's welcome Dr. Alex Uy to begin the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. So just let me share my screen first. Okay, let me adjust my screen so that you can see my full screen. So can you see my full screen now, Erica?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
All right. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Uy. Again, I'm with the Faculty of Information and Communication Technology. In short, we call it FICT. So today I would like to share with you about how IT is going to transform people and organization. I believe more or less some of you already know or already experienced the transformation. So my talk here today will be focusing more on give you a little bit more insights about the future. I think this talk mainly focused for those who really considering ICT as their career, their career path in the future. Yeah. Now, why I say so is because many people that are not in this IT technology, they might be thinking that this digital transformation is just about converting existing physical process into the web forms like internet. So you have physically all this while maybe you're filling up some hardware forms or some process that you go through physically. And IT transformation or digital transformation is just about converting all this into the digital form so that we can use it in the internet. Now that is a very high level of kind of description of this digital transformation. I think as of now you should have experienced more than just this kind of simple transformation. I believe you have been using some services like e-commerce services. You can buy things across the globe. Yeah, you can order food and for delivery. I mean, ride sharing now is a bit difficult during the pandemic, but you can see these services all these are made possible due to the digital transformations. And today I'm going to share you a little bit more than this. Yeah, a little bit more than this. What is the incoming things that is going to happen? So that you have a good feeling. If you choose this ICT as a career, you know that the coming futures, what are the potentials? Yeah. So to many people, people that think that the ICT transformations is slightly stagnant simply because, let me show you these slides. From a user perspective, many times when you deal with IT systems or any digital systems, we deal with the user interface. We don't really look into don't really get to see how the back is working. Yeah, the back end is running. And for your information, for the past 10 years, the technology actually grow. I would say I will use the word exponentially. Yeah, and a lot of fantastic and new innovation is actually made to make our systems more robust, more scalable, and can handle many more users at the same time. So all this require people to develop, to participate in this process, to develop and monitor. You can see on the left hand side, we call this monolithic architecture. It's those that are the old ways of getting things done, whereas microservices architectures is the current trend. Yeah, and in between, they are actually they don't jump overnight to change over. It's actually is a process of evolution. So in between, there are also many transition in between. Yeah. The favorite services that you use, like for example, YouTube, Netflix, yeah, all this at the back end, they are also keep on evolving, okay, so that in a way that you can actually experience the service in the best way. So that's why IT is just not about at the front end that you look at, not from a physical process convert it into a digital process, but rather the back end. Yeah, a lot of, I would say 70% of the work actually done at the back end, so that you can you can have a pleasant user experience. Now, and I believe the pandemic actually have not somehow or show you that the digital transformation is no longer just a choice. Now you see, if you come to think back before we have this pandemic, I think we already started to have this e-wallet, yeah. And most of the time, this e-wallet thing is like kind of like as a choice. You can choose whether or not you want to use it, right? Now, when the pandemic strikes and we want to reduce the risk of having the virus transfer through the currency, the paper currency that we use, one of the best way to have contactless transactions is to use your e-wallet. Yeah, so it actually helps to promote the use of the technology. And I think if prior to that we have those food delivery services like food pandas, we have grab food, all these services which happen to be something luxury if you come to think of it. Yeah, but today due to the lockdown, these services somehow also become something essentials, yeah, to people like us, that we want to we want to reduce our risk of getting out there. So in a way, you somehow more and more people are exposed to these transformations, yeah, and also online shopping, e-commerce, yeah, buying things online, and especially when those shops are not allowed to operate. You know that if you can still get your things through things platform like Lazada, Shopee, you still can get them. Yeah. So in a way, it starts to transform. And last time, if you ask me, like for example, some hawkers, yeah, they can choose not to opt in into this kind of services. They can always opt out. Yeah. But I think due to the stress of this pandemic, they also have to learn to use this technology, and in a way that they have to do it for their own survival as well. So you can, if you come to think of it, this has become a trend, a necessity. Yeah. So today I'm going to share with you something like how do we tell, or whether it is a necessity, or whether it's already saturated. Can we actually still move into it? I believe when you want to choose ICT as a career, sometimes we also worry. Yeah, like at this point of time, if you look at it, like all the services that we have is kind of like pretty much matured, and we don't really see what will happen, in the near future. So some like might wonder, after I study the degree 3 years later, what will happen? Yeah. So if so many people also join ICT, then would it actually give us make the competition very stiff, yeah, and difficult? So today, this purpose of this sharing is to share with you so that you have a good idea and you judge for yourself whether or not, yeah, it's going to grow and give you more opportunity, or it is actually something that already matured or saturated. Yeah. Now, if you remember that 20 years ago, yeah, maybe some of you are not that old, or 10 years ago, 20 years ago, mobile phone is an option. Okay, you can choose or not to have a mobile phone. It is not something that you really need it, and without it, you probably still can do your daily operation without much issue. Now, if you look at 10 years ago, smartphone also have the same thing. You just need a mobile phone. Actually, you don't really need a smartphone if you think maybe 10 or 10 or 20 year backs or 15 years backs. You don't really need that smart. There's nothing smart things that is so essential, you cannot live without it. But today, you realize that the smartphone is no longer just a accessory or luxury. It's really it's something really essential. Now, for example, even if you are, even to the hawkers out there, if they want to engage into this food delivery service, one of the very basic requirement they have is that they need to have a smartphone, right? So you can see there are changes. So this graph I'm showing you is actually the S-curve. I actually got it from the trees. The trees is basically stand for theory of inventive problem solving. Is actually invented by Russian. So if you take this, if you join our program, you get to learn things like this. So you get to see the technology trend. Yeah, and this S-curve thing, can really show the trend, like for example, start from infancy, growth, maturity, and sunset. And sunset, which means the things are they are being replaced and getting less and less people are using it. Now, when you see some technology that are optionals, yeah, so really you can opt in and opt out. Usually they are at the infancy or about to grow stage. Now, when at the growing stage, you see a lot of potentials. You see a lot of potential. The solution that you have might not be 100% very, very good of do everything you need, but you see the potentials and you can see the adoption rate is higher and higher. So it's actually going to the growth rate. Yeah. And how do you know it is measured when we don't really need to talk more about it? Okay, like for example, today you lost your mobile phone. You just tell your friend that, oh, I lost my mobile phone. You don't have to explain to him what is the problem or what are the challenge of losing that. So everyone will just feel sorry for you, right? The moment you lost your mobile phone. Why? Because everyone already know about the technology and we don't even have to mention that. So this is basically the evolution of any technology. So you choose. So if you were to invest your time, okay, into something, yeah, you don't want to invest in sunset technology, all right? First, it's pretty dangerous. Or I would say that the market size is going to shrink, but not necessarily no opportunity. You have to don't get me wrong. I'm just giving you an example. There are always exceptional cases. You have to always remember that. Of course, sometimes people and if you ask me for potentials, will be good if you choose at the growth stage. Growth stage would have the most potential. Yeah, the return is always one of the best. So now the question is ICT is already in the maturity stage or the growth stage? Yeah, I think not yet sunset. Okay, not yet sunset. So it's growing. Okay, so whether or not it is maturity. Yeah. So one of the things I want to show you is that I want to share with you is this one. We call it this one. If you happen to know what is Industrial Revolution 4.0, then you know that the technology that sparked this revolution is actually the ICT technology. Yeah. So for those who are not aware, so let me quickly brief through this to you. What is the Industrial Revolution 4.0? Industrial Revolution 4.0 actually coined by Germany. There was like they look back at the history. They says that our industry, yeah, and been through 3 stages. One stage is that we started with a steam engine, and then actually we replaced you can imagine the factory, replace it with electric and assembly line, and then we improved that with electronics, like for example robots, yeah, and IT technology. And now we are actually entering to the 4th stage. Now this is where many people don't really understand what is the difference between the 3rd revolution and the 4th revolution. To many people is that this is just like kind of continuity from the 3rd. So it is not a revolution. So let's talk about 2 things here. Why it is called a revolution and how ICT play a role here. Now, when we say revolution, it is something very important. Is that either all of us have to follow whether we like it or not. Yeah, if we don't, we're basically out of business. So if you come to think of it, imagine if like we have a factory that are actually running using steam powered mechanical mechanisms, yeah, to produce product. And our competitors, they are using electrically powered, system with production line. I mean, very obvious, we are one generation behind, and of course in terms of cost, and the production capacity, we will not able to rival with it. And over time, if we don't upgrade, we'll definitely out of business. Yeah, this is why everyone have to follow this revolution and move forward. Now, then the next one would be, let's say, imagine if our competitors start to use mechanical or robotics arm, to produce product. Yeah, very high precision, good quality, very little amount of defects. If you were still using the classic approach, like just powered by electric assembly line and manual, and this row of people sitting there and doing the work manually, definitely in terms of quality and quantities, we cannot beat this. Yeah. So again, no choice, we have to move forward. Now the question here is, what happened in the fourth revolution? Why do we need to move forward here? And what actually makes this different from the third revolution? So if you see carefully this diagram, you can see that they put a lot of this Wi-Fi sign there. If you look at this Wi-Fi sign, you see that the only thing different here is, of course, with these laptops, is trying to bridge the information technology with the operation technology, which is the manufacturing. So let me give you an example. Let's say today we have a very powerful factory, of the third generations. We have robotics. We can produce quality product using robots and very high capacity. Yeah, for example. Now the thing is, let's say we have a customers come out of nowhere, try look for you, ask you to help to manufacture things like I want 500,000 of such product. And of course, very naturally, the next question is, when can we start to do the manufacturing? When we can complete the deal, finish doing the manufacturing, and how much we will need? You realize that even with the third generation of this industrial revolution technology, these questions cannot be answered immediately. Yeah, usually the salesperson have to go back and have meetings with the guy with the plant manager to see if they can cope with the capacity or what are the changes they need to do. So again, if you have a competitor, that have the ability to tell this faster than you to the customer, and they can actually make the decision so much faster, because of the information they have, because the manufacturing plant and all the data are all linked together with the business unit, so they can actually tell straight away whether they can cope with the capacity or not. So as such, it will forces those factories that don't have this capacity before to have this. So that's why in a way that not this one, not I say, the Germans think that this is the way forward. This is the way forward. Of course, there are more details inside, but in summary, I can share with you, this is one of the characteristics, like how ICT actually disrupted the conventional kind of industry and create a revolution. And I want to share with you a little bit more. This is one of our own projects that we think like new technology will somehow also create new services. Now this one, if some of you are familiar with this aqua or ponic or hydroponic kind of systems, there's one of our project is to put sensors into it and monitor the irrigation, the fertilization, monitor the systems and the lights, hopefully to adjust it in a way that to control, to optimize it for plants. And here, what kind of new services we think that will appear? It's like we realize that in the future, right, instead of just buying the rack and power up and running, you might need to buy the software, because the software is that if you plant different plants, you might need a different software. So different software, will adjust the lights, the fertilizers, the irrigations according to the plant. So if you see carefully in the new future, it is not just industry that is going to have a change. Other field of conventional, like for example agriculture, you see that the software it's going to play a role. Yeah, software is going to play a role. So it's not just physical, and you can choose, and this will create new services. When it create new services, it creates new business. So new businesses, then we need people to get the work done. Yeah, and if you look carefully, all this is though it's a piece of software to many people, it's just like not just a software, but in actual fact, all this technology will create more data. When you create more data for people to use, like for example, your YouTube, your emails, all the emails that you send, all these are creating more and more data every day. So we need people to actually do the storage, the data storage. So that's why the infrastructure to maintain the network, and that is why we need data centers. Yeah, that's why we need some data centers, and you can see, I believe recently you can see, Microsoft says that they are going to not build a data center in Malaysia. This is basically cater for the future growth. Yeah, it's definitely going to be the trend. And our data, we actually create more and more data without we are aware actually. When you take one photo and then you post it into your Facebook, your Insta, basically you created another piece of information that need to be stored and managed. Yeah, and I believe when you do store this kind, many of us we have computers. Let's make the thing simple a bit. Yeah, simple a bit. Like, people are thinking just store the data only, right? What is so difficult? Actually, if you come to think of it, if you have a really huge, big drive, yeah, storage, many people tend to throw all the things inside. Now, without a proper organization, without proper management, I would say most of the time you won't be able to retrieve what you have saved. That means the process of saving is very simple, but how about the retrieval? How do you find, the files that you saved 2 years ago, 3 years ago? All this require experts, require people to actually manage them properly, so that we can only retrieve things that we actually store. If not, then it won't be of any use at all. Yeah. So that's why where do we find this kind of people? Yeah, that is actually from the ICT school. Yeah, the Faculty of Information and Communication Technology. This is where we train these people. Yeah, about information management. Now, when you have information stored, connected, you find it very convenient. You use your mobile phone, after that your tablet, after that your laptop, everywhere can access your data. The next issue that we need to tackle will be the security. Now, imagine you have a really smart factory. You can look at the capacity, you can adjust the performance, but these features you don't want them to fall in the wrong hands. Yeah, so some bad guys, if they got access to this, then it might actually create havoc to your factory, to your systems. Yeah, so we don't want that to happen. And again, if you imagine, if the organization is growing, becoming larger, it needs experts, again, cybersecurity experts, to actually look after the systems. Yeah, it's just not that even our household. Yeah, you realize one thing, that in last time, we have a modem internet, and then connect to most probably one or two computers. Now today, I think easily, like, if your house has a four person living, you easily have 4 mobile phones connected to the internet, and then you start to pass your CCTV, your laptops, your smart TV, some of the smart aircon, everything's are connected. Now, if you come to think of it, these connectivities don't give you convenience. It might also be a point where people can actually log into your network. Yeah, so that's why we need really good security. Yeah. So, and again, similarly, where do we find these people? Again, in FICT, we produce them. Yeah, we produce them, and with these two, you can see the opportunities are there. Of course, the last one, what is this? This one, I put a brain here. You have to understand that there's no point of just keep on storing the data and not making use of it. So one of the things that we always look into is like what we can get the value out of the data. Like, for example, we keep on just collect the data, and don't do anything about it actually is pretty not as of use as well. Let's say we want to monitor our house for people, if we don't want uninvited visitors to come into our premise. You realize that it is actually you keeping the video footage is actually pretty useless, because by the time you see the uninvited guest is already inside, yeah, and then there's it's really reactive. You look at then only you go and download the video and look at it. Oh yeah, that's how you come in or what. It's to me it's really reactive. So what is the coming trend? The coming trend should be like, instead of having a person sitting down there looking at this the CCTV 24/7, all this job can actually replace with computers, softwares, AI, yeah, to detect and monitor interesting event for you, rather than wait for you passively to actually retrieve it. Yeah, so that is why you say that you have the data, but if you're not using it, it's actually pretty not much value as well. That's why you need someone to actually make use of it. To make use of it, of course, we have data science, data analytics, and also AI, artificial intelligence. These are the parts that we actually that we can learn how to automate and find value out of the data that we actually collected. Yeah. Now, another thing I want to show you is the evidence. So you can see that the world, we are going to have more and more things connected. Like for example, I believe you know the brand Xiaomi. It's one of the largest IoT platform. You can, if you go to the shop, you realize that there are a lot of these. Almost all the things are connected to the network. It's really interesting, and the data are actually stored into the cloud. As I mentioned to you, the amount of data that we generate, is actually growing. You can see like this cloud computing, these are the world top 3 cloud service provider. You can see their growth is actually growing every year, every year. So this is a good evidence to show you what I said earlier, all this will require people, require people to maintain, manage, develop new services. So these are all these opportunities that are that I can share with you. So if you look at it, we are somehow still at the growth stage, not matured yet. Not matured yet. So this is why it is still a good investment, to take up this ICT as your career path. Now, of course, let's move on to the threat part. Many people, also worried that AIs and robots going to threaten our jobs, it's going to take over, and many people is going to lose their job. You can try Google and see. But if you are a very pessimistic guy, I would say that don't do that. If not, then of course, if you try to Google, then you look at it, then I think it will paint the world a bit gloomy. A bit gloomy. Now, however, and we need to understand, not all jobs, not all jobs can be taken over by AI or robots. There are certain jobs that are still cannot be completely replaced by robots, or machines. So the question is, how do we know which job can be taken over or not yet cannot be taken over by AI or robots? This is where again the advantage of studying ICT. Once you know how AI works, you tend to have a better idea. Let me give you a quick preview. Like for example, when we talk about AI, basically there are two broad groups of AI. Now, the AI that we are looking at now advancing very, very fast. They are actually mainly narrow AI. We call them weak AI because these AI are designed to actually perform like things like a single task, and they perform it really, really well. Like for example, looking for a face in an image, identifying objects in an image, to detect if there's any defects on the products that we produce. So this type of jobs, of course, eventually will be replaced completely by AI because they can do it really fast. They will not get tired, and then there are very small margin of error. Now, the one that not a lot of people are worrying that it's going to take over the world, like if you are watching Terminator, you worry this kind of AI. Those AI are known as artificial general intelligence. Yeah, we call it AGI. Yeah, these are strong AI. So this AI is the one that you see in the movie. They can behave like human. In other words, can solve any problem that you can do, even better. Yeah, sometimes. So these are the one. But if you study AI, you realize that most of the AI actually narrow AI. Yeah, narrow AI. So the artificial general intelligence still, I would say that still there are still long way to go. It's not that direct yet. Yeah. Of course, what makes this AI thing so popular in a way that you recently, like I mean, for the past few years, it was that we are able to now design software to learn thing. We call it machine learning, to learn thing on its own. Yeah. Again, when I say this, don't get me wrong. It's not that I learn everything, like human, but rather a very specific task. I think one of the very good example was actually this AlphaGo, where machine learning is used to learn how to play this Go board game. Yeah, this Go is a ancient Chinese or Japanese chess game. Yeah, board game. It's like a chess, but it's not. So what happened here was like they use machine learning to actually learn how to play. So which means that the rules of the game were not actually pre-programmed or actually turn it into a program for the programs to know how the game is being played. No, they don't do that. They create a very general a model to look at 1,000 hours of games, and then the computer learn how to play from it, and that is where it sparks the people of thinking that the AI is getting very very clever. And yes, indeed, it is getting very clever. It can learn, and this is why I think in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, even the best human player, yeah, actually was beaten by this AI. So it is really interesting, especially for people like us. Yeah. So if you want to know, learn about how this thing works and how do we do something similar, again, FICT is the faculty where we actually do all this. Yeah, learn all this. Now, talking about the threats of digital transformations, just a little bit more I want to share with you is that it is actually not the technology. It is actually not the technology that giving threats to human. If you ask me, I will say that it's actually the speed. Yeah. Now let me give you an example. Let's say if we take our grandfather as an example. Let's say there's a guy and his grandfather could be fetching people around using a trishaw, yeah, and make a living. And his son, the grandfather's son, can actually he can actually make that a living until his until he retired. And then the son might actually go get a car and start driving cab around, fetching people around. So it's kind of like it's you can see the technology came and actually changed the people's lifestyle better, but it's two generations separated by two generations. Yeah. Now, the issue here when we talk about speed is that before this young chap or this son can retire, yeah, new technology came in. Yeah, for example, of this delivery, this e-hailing. Yeah, you can call, carpooling. You can get. Of course, today we have many alternatives. Yeah, this is just an example that most of us easy to understand. So it actually gives a threat to this industry. Now, many people thinking that, oh yeah, this is going to be like this is going to be like the trend of the future, and that's it. Actually, it is not. If you come to think of it, in fact, like in China, Shenzhen, people already start to use driverless taxi. So if you see driverless taxi, is going to is if it's here, it's going to threaten this industry again. Yeah, this industry. So it's kind of like you can see the technology change. Of course, usually the technology itself is actually is good things, but when it changed too fast, yeah. So the person who drive this one I cannot retire it, and by the time this car is here, he still needs to work, yeah, and make a living. But that will be a challenge to him, yeah. That will be a challenge to the person who still needs to make a living, cannot retire yet. And the technology changed so fast, and we have to just keep on follow this technology and adapt to it. So if you ask me personally, the threats of this digital transformation is not about any individual technologies, really. They actually give us lots of opportunity. The issue is the speed of change and the person itself. A lot of us, it's really difficult. I mean, it's not easy to able to adapt, yeah, easily. So if you look at this one, this is the some of the things I want to share with you. Like of course, if you want to choose this as a career path, you want to see like what's going to be in the future, right? What are the jobs landscape? If you were not interested in starting your own business, let's say you want to look for a good career, working jobs, yeah. So according to the World Economic Forum, this is the one. Yeah, these are the top 10 emerging one. Okay, top 10 emerging jobs. So if you look carefully, you can see that the first is data analyst, as I mentioned, and scientists. We're going to create a lot of data, and we need people to analyze them. And of course, number two, where we will need more AI and machine learning specialists. We need them to build more AI solutions for different industry, different domain. And of course, third one, general and operation manager, is kind of like a bit not related to us. But again, the fourth one you see is ICT again, yeah, software and application developer and analyst, yeah. And five, not really related to us again, but six, big data specialists. Again, you have lots of data, you need to make use of how to manage this data. And number seven, you can see digital transformation specialists again. So all these are, are very ICT related. Now, it's not that, of course, there are some disclaimer that we have to make it very clear. It's not that, we straight away you come in and then you can straight away join and do this kind of job, get a degree and move on. The degree is kind of like a entry point, or I would say like give you the fundamentals knowledge that is good enough for you to get into this industry, or the one that I mentioned, the emerging one. Yeah. So once you have a good fundamentals, you can join, this industry. These jobs are, opened for you. And of course, again, as I mentioned earlier, the threat is the speed. So one of the very important things is that the willingness to learn new things, yeah, is no longer an option. Also, is very important to us. So that's why if you look at the skill sets that we need, yeah, again, follow this from this World Economic Forum, you can see that all these skills are the one that we should, put in effort to train them. Okay, again, when you look at the degree program, or sometimes don't focus too much on the technology. You might want to look at what are the skill sets that are providing to you. Yeah, like us, we very focused on lifelong learning. To us, it's very important because things change, and ability to continue to learn and make use of them is very important. So these are the skills. So I put a QR code here. If you want to read more about this, you can just scan here, and then bring you to the related websites. Yeah. So you can have more there, go through this one by one and see if you already have them. Yeah, if you already have them, congratulations. Now, this one would be the conclusion of my talk today. So whether we like it or not, this digital transformation is inevitable. We cannot run away. It's coming, and it's really fast. Yeah. And the issue is not about any particular technology, but rather it's the speed of the change is very fast. So sometimes the job that we are doing today might be replaced by robots tomorrow, right? So in order to continue to excel, you have to have the ability to learn new skill and move on. Yeah? Move on. So that is actually a real challenge to many people, and this is why, if you ask me, the essential skill is actually lifelong learning. Yeah. So lifelong learning is something that we need to acquire, so that we can continue to excel in this technology industry. Well, I guess that is all for my talk. Let me pass this back to Erica. Erica. So let me stop myself sharing. I pass back to Erica. Yeah. Thank you very much. Erika, I think you have not turned on your mic yet. Erika, your mic is still mute. It's muted.
Open. Can you hear?
There are some glitches. Erika, we cannot hear you. I think can you try? Yeah, I think somehow.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, I think the internet the connection. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Alex Oi, for the sharing. I guess most of the audience here are already clear on what is the digital transformation about, and also the basic general information about the IT programs. So before we move to Q&A sections, I would like to invite all of you to scan the QR code here for the evaluation form. So can you scan the QR code so that we can improve, we can know your feedback and improve in our in the upcoming webinars. Okay. All right. Dr. Alex, I have a question to ask because of SPM result just released, and then most of the SPM levels, they're actually confusing on what are the program that they would like to go, and also confusing on the programs, what are the teaching, what are the program structure in the each programs are. And then I have met some of the students, they are wondering on the computer science. They ask, is it computer science is very wide for them to learn in the degree, whether it's suitable for them to take the program like business information system or communication and networking specific into some area is better for them. So may I know your advice is?
Okay, thank you, Erika. So regarding these questions, I think one of the things that that we have to agree is that all of these people have their own very important role, and their role are very different, and it really depends on like what is your interest. It's not that oh, you find that, oh, this one is general or not general. You want to have like join everyone, this is very popular, let's do this together. No, I think rather more important is that you might want to look back, reflect yourself and see that what kind of jobs that you are looking for. And to me, all the courses that we offer all have their own needs and market needs. And I can tell you, all of them, they have success story. So let me briefly just give you a quick way to distinguish all these ICT program. I understand some of you might find it a bit confusing. So let's start with business information system. Business information systems, the degree that we design, actually they put in some of the business element with IT. So when we create this program in mind, the idea is to bridge the business people with the IT technology. Yeah, so we are hoping that this group of graduates, it will be the advocates for IT in the business world. So they will actually help business, like what are the best technology to use, the e-commerce, the trend, they have the knowledge of both worlds. Yeah. And then we have information system engineering. The information system engineering is, as the name says, we more on, like just now I mentioned, we have lots of data to keep, to store, to process. We need experts to do this. If you don't have experts, all this data you throw into a storage, I can tell you, most of the time you won't be able to retrieve them. Yeah, you need these people to retrieve this data, manage them properly, and you can get them really fast so that you can actually make decisions. Yeah. And these people are this so-called information system engineering degree. Yeah, if you are keen into manage data, and then come to in the middle we have something called computer science. Now, computer science, basically what we do is we study the science in computing. Now, it might sound a bit general, but if you come to think of it, we study things like how AI works. No, to some people, they might just use it. And for us, we actually study the principle behind, yeah, like how your operating system works, how the database works, and image processing, data analytics. We study not just using that, we study the science behind it, yeah, that is in computer science. And in computer science itself, we actually specialize it into software engineering and also the AI and also data science track. Yeah, so we have specialized electives that you can choose. Actually, all these programs we have specialized groups. So it's really based on your interest. You can choose, where you want to go. And then we have communication networking. You know that the networking is very important. It's not just not the whole network that we have. If you look at the future, there are going to be lots of choices. We have 5G, 4G, we have Wi-Fi 6, a lot of these standards, and that is only at the consumer end. We haven't looked at the telco end. On the telco end, we have those routers that are not or system that is not to us, but it is very important, that are crucial for the entire nation, get connected. So all this infra requires specialist experts to actually maintain them. So this group of people, yeah, communication networking is they are actually designed. We design the program to produce this group of people. And then of course we also have a Bachelor of IT Computer Engineering students. So we actually designed this to have these students who have the knowledge of hardware. A lot of people were thinking that our IT students, they only know about software, but have zero knowledge about the hardware, the interfacing, how to communicate and with embedded devices. So we have one specific degree to do that, which is the computer engineering degree, where you learn the digital circuit, how things works. So we have a whole spectrum of it. So for you to choose, now if you ask me, say which one is the best, I will tell you all of them are really good. Yeah, it really depends on your personal preference, and of course also your what you want to do at the end of the day. Yeah, Erica, I hope that's answer your questions. I know a bit lengthy. Erica, I cannot hear you again. I'm sorry. No. So you can see the back end technical support is very important as well. Okay, I see Tom actually posed me a question. He just texted me here. Will mathematics important in IT degree?
Hi, yes, Alex. Yeah. Okay, so there's like questions that receiving from the students. So do you mind to
okay, we have two group for here.
Okay. Let me take these questions. Yeah, is mathematics important or not? I would say that the mathematics itself is a very broad field, really very broad. Yeah, and there are so many areas. So if you say whether mathematics is important, if it really depends on which branch of mathematics that you're referring to. Like for example, discrete mathematics is very important. Probability, statistics, yeah, these are very important. And again, it depends on what you want to do. Let's say if you just want to build systems, then the field that I mentioned earlier is okay, it's good enough. Let's say, you say that, I want to excel in artificial intelligence, then you might need to also be good in the calculus, integration, differentiation, those things you need to have it. Yeah. So of course, it really depends on the field. Yeah. So you cannot say that I only mathematics in general. Is too general to tell. Okay. So some of I think the follow up with the question says whether AdMaths is important or not. We of all the 5 programs, only computer science we have this requirement of AdMaths. Yeah. The others we don't have. So it's still okay. Which means if you don't have MS, you can still take ICT program. Yeah, ICT program. Now another thing is some students say that my mathematics very poor. Whether it is going to be a trouble. Now the thing here that we are looking at is problem solving skill. Actually, it's not about just the mathematics. If you have problem solving skill, then that is sufficient already. Mathematics is kind of like why I say that is because sometimes mathematics that being taught to us in secondary school, I would say that sometimes a bit too abstract. So too abstract that sometimes students just could not actually cope with it, not because they are not good, it's just that they don't see how to use it, they don't really understand it. We do have students that actually join after taking the ICT study. They start to realize, oh yeah, that is why we need to do it this way, Then they start to understand all the maths that they did last time. Many of us actually just memorized the steps to solve the problem, but we didn't know, why we need to do it, why it has to be this way. But when you come to the problem solving approach, you realize you have this problem, and then you start to realize and appreciate what you have learned earlier. So again, if you ask me, is back to your passion, back to your passion. The most critical skill is don't worry about too much about the mathematics, but rather of your problem solving skill. Yeah, if you have a good problem solving skill, I don't think it will be a problem. Yeah. No, Erica, I cannot hear you.
Yeah, maybe I think it's the Erica's internet connection is a little bit problem. So it's okay. So if you don't mind, maybe like I help to cover on behalf of Erica. So other than the mathematics study, right? Is it? So there actually there are something else that we are receiving for the IT study that since now, right, is it the big data is a trend. So will we studying for the big data during the IT study? How is playing a role in this?
Oh, okay. So, or you got this question from the student, all right? So yes, as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, that we are going to have more and more data. So when we have more and more data, then it's actually a race between the hardware that we have and also the amount of the data that is growing, and the amount of data growing is always much faster. Okay, so that is why we need to figure out ways how to manage this data, and that's why we have this big data challenge. Yeah, so in our program, we actually learn that from the infrastructure layer to the software where it is the database, and then to the application, like how to make use, how to process a large amount of data. Yeah, so big data is a very big word. Okay, it covers a lot of things inside. So so to be exact, so what we should be looking at is that whether or not we learn the skill sets of how to handle large amount of data. Okay, we talk about the velocity of the data, the variety of the data, and all that, the volume of the data. Yeah, so we learn how to handle that, and then we follow by the software. Okay, the software to maintain them. Is very important, like the Hadoop, the file systems, and of course a lot more Spark, Apache Spark, all those platforms that we talk about, and also how to make use of applications, like for example, we want to look for anomaly detections, or we want to look for some causality between this data. Yeah, and we actually cover that. Yeah, and for your information, we seldom have one person do everything. So I mean, in the real world, we have specialists at all these places, yeah, doing different parts of a bigger systems. Yeah, so that's why to many students, like they were thinking that, oh, this is I want to cover the whole end. Yeah, so for your information, now is the system are growing very big, and that's why you see we have a lot of specializations, and everyone play their role differently. So Tom, I hope I have answered your questions.
Okay, thank you again for the Dr. Alex. So maybe like, because now we got last 5 minutes for this webinar, right? Maybe I will come the last questions. Yeah. So about the career, maybe like most will be take concern on this. So after they graduate, right, is it from a fresh IT? Then is there any like the wide or broad career prospect in Malaysia?
Sorry, Tom, I don't get it. You mean that after wide prospect?
Yeah, simple to say, like how for getting a job, right? Is it going to be easier for them getting a job?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Come to this one. Now getting a job. If you ask me, I would say that IT degree is definitely something that highly sought for now. Yeah. But of course, if you talk about the trend, I mentioned to you, you can see there are so many opportunities. Now the thing is, if you ask me, this is also something that we are very proud of. Like for the FICT, our employment rate is always more than 95% for the past few years. So we actually enjoy really good support from the industry. So if you ask me, I would say that yes, the opportunity are there, but not. But please bear in mind that this, the degree is just a certification. At the end of the day, still go back to the student. Yeah, go back to the student. The student attitude, ability to solve problem. Now to us, that is actually a very critical factor as well. So what we provide is a platform, yeah, for you to train our students with really good fundamental computing knowledge, so that they can grow further above on to new technology they want in the or any area they wanted to go, so they have a solid fundamentals. And once you have that, then you can start to find industry that you are interested, and then you move on from there. And if you ask me, I think the prospect is really wide. You can literally almost every industry nowadays requires a software engineer. Yeah? So that's why I said that I think the prospect is still going to be continually it's going to be good for like short to mid term. Of course, we do not know what is going to we cannot predict what too far away, but for these few years, definitely I don't think it's a problem.
Okay, thank you for the last questions. Then since maybe like Erica is not able to back online, I will be continue for the ending for the webinar. Again, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Erica. Can you still back online? Yeah, it's okay. Maybe like I will continue for the webinars, the ending. So again, thank you for the Alex to have the quick sharing for us. So now we come to the before we end. So maybe like we have a brief introductions for the other informations about UTAR and about the IT programs. So like mostly just recently the SPM result is released. So if you're interested to apply through the SPM, just for information, definitely you need to go through by the 1 year foundations. Afterward, there is the bachelor degree within 3 years. So we have 6 different IT programs, and among them, right, you can go through by either the foundation in art or foundation in science. So for the foundation in basically, right, if you have like the 5 credit at least, with including the English, the mathematics, and IT, or the science in your SPM results here above, actually you are entitled to apply for most of the programs. But just not for the computer engineering, because for computer engineering will be very eligible for only the foundation in science. So we can go through the next slide about what we're offering in the IT degree. So you can see that this is for the all the IT programs offered by the FICT, the Faculty of Information and Communication Technology. So we have like computer science in general. So or we have the business information system, we have information system engineering, even we have communication networking and the computer engineering. So if you are interested, or maybe like you need to be more clear about what should you proceed to, then you can just check with us for the differences, or even like you can meet with the Dr. Alex through the email or any other method that can have the more idea about the differences of the programs. So like we come to the next slide. So this other than the IT programs offering, right, is it? So just maybe like for the students not familiar with the UTAR, this is for you to introduce our UTAR campus. In fact, we have 2 different campuses, the one at Kampar, the other one at Sungalong. Okay, and for the FICT, the Faculty of Information Technology, in fact, is located at the Kampar campus. Okay, so this is a Kampar campus pictures, and there are more and more pictures you can just go through. Okay, so for the next slide, is it? Maybe like we can go through the next slide. So for the last, this is our contact. Okay. So if after today's webinar, the recorded versions will keep at our Facebook channel, UTaran4U. So if you have missed out, or you have parents or maybe like your friends that you would like to introduce them for the webinars, you can just introduce them through our Facebook channel. You can back to the UTaran4U for the video recorded versions. And if you have any other further inquiry, you can just go through our website. We have study.utaran.edu.my or the study.utaran.edu.my/cn. We have a live chat standby for you from the Monday to Sunday, the 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have the counselor to stand by to have the counseling, to have the consultants for you about the programs and inquiry. So not only for the live chat, even you have a hotline, we have the WeChat or the traditional way, we have an email. So you can just approach us through the different way of contact. And for your next information, in fact, we have the webinars coming tomorrow, same at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. is in topic of the rewarding field, building and property management. Is a different kind of study. It's under the property management. So if you're interested, you can just join it to our Cyber Open Day or even our Facebook channel tomorrow, again at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And for your information, in fact, right, we are actually started for our June intake for the foundations, and it is from the 14th of June. Okay, so means that you're already a week for the class started. But no worry, if you want to join the June, you can still apply, submit the online applications before the 2nd of the July. We are still accept for the June intake applications by the SPM. And for the next intake will be on the 11th of October. So if you maybe like quite a rush for the June, you can still apply for the October, and it is open for applications from now onward until the October. So it's your choice whether you want to join the June or the October. It's up to you. Okay, so come to here is end of our webinar today. Again, thank you for the Alex for sharing with us the information about the IET, and thank you to join us until end of the webinar, and we meet you again tomorrow for the different topic of the webinar. Thank you again, and bye-bye.